everyone, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Simons. Welcome to Mavericks of Medicine, a first-of-its-kind documentary series on the life, passion and vision of stalwarts of the life sciences sector, brought to you by Docplexus, India's largest online community of doctors. Our first guest in the series is a successful leader, a multilinguist and a marketing wizard. He has had an illustrious career spanning 17 years and currently spearheads an organization devoted towards addressing one of India's most pertinent problems, nutritional deficiency. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Rodrigo Lima, the Managing Director of Danone India. Let's hear his vision for the organization and his thoughts on the opportunities and challenges in the healthcare and nutritional industry. It's wonderful to have you with us, Mr. Lima.
Thank you.
Mr. Lima, for someone from an economics and finance background, was the healthcare industry a conscious career choice or did it happen by chance?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for your generous introduction. I think you were too generous on that. But answering your question, it was mostly by chance. I went to study in the US and there were some companies recruited on campus. And then I interviewed with a bunch of them and got a few offers, and then I selected the one that was most financially attractive. But I also had an affinity with this industry because my father is a pediatrician. So I've always grew up around doctors. We always had his friends in the house. I went with him to work very often to the hospital. So I ended up working at Lilly, which is a very famous pharmaceutical company from the US. And they had a very good presence in Brazil, which is the country that I'm from.
What role do you think your family and childhood has played in shaping you into a visionary and successful leader? What are the values that you carry with you even today?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I'm a visionary and successful leader. I certainly try very hard to be. Not sure that anybody can say they have achieved that yet. One thing where my family helped me a lot, I come from a very big family. I have lots of cousins, uncles, and I've seen lots of different examples in my families of people that have done well, people that have not done so well, people that had done well for a while and then, they encountered setbacks. So I try to learn from those examples. The most important thing that I learn is how to get up after you fall. And I've had many examples in my family where I could see that and I could learn from it. And I try to go back to these examples every day when I encounter a challenge.
LinkedIn profile describes you as a results-oriented professional that focuses on building high-performing cross-functional teams to achieve ambitious targets. What motivates you to excel every single day?
So I consider myself an operational guy. I like to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the company at every level. And growth, top-line growth is really what motivates me. And this is what I come to work to do every day. So results orientation, I think it's in the nature. It's just something that I like. But I realize that I cannot do things by myself. I think every leader needs a very strong team with him or her, composed of people that are even better than himself. And that's what I try to do. I try to surround myself with people that are better than me, so that we can achieve the results that the organization expects from us.
I think there's a lot that we can learn from that. Can you tell us something about Danone's entry into India? And what are the challenges you see?
So Danone is a rather young organization in India. We've entered into India in 2012 when we acquired the nutritional portfolio of Walkhart. So at this time we brought in products like Protein X, Farex, Dexolac, Nusobi, So entering through an acquisition has its advantages, but has its challenges as well. So I think that the first challenge was to try to Danonize the culture of the team that we brought in, while we maintain most of the positive strengths that they already had before. That was the first challenge that we had. And then slowly, after the initial years, we are introducing the global portfolio, the global nutrition portfolio of Danone, which has very interesting and successful products outside of India, like Aptamil, for example, which is a leading infant formula in Europe. Neocate, which is a highly specialized product to help children with cow's milk protein allergy, which is a condition that is increasing in India every day. So the challenge now is to how to work with the regulatory authorities, how to work with the healthcare professionals to introduce these very new and scientific nutritional products.
Mr. Lima, your previous professional assignments have taken you to different markets in geographically diverse areas. What would you say are the unique characteristics of the Indian subcontinent?
There are a lot of unique characteristics of India, I would say. I would start with the sheer size. In my different assignments, I was never used to dealing with such big numbers, huge number of doctors, customers, retailers, distributors. So that was a shock in the beginning. After almost 4 years here, I'm still not accustomed to the size of this. So that is something very unique to India. But also India has its unique nutritional challenges. There's still a lot of malnutrition in India. There's still a lot of protein deficiency, which is something that we would like to address. There are already high levels of breastfeeding, but at the same time, there are low nutritional status in very young children. So it's a paradigm that we need to address, and that is very unique to India. So I would summarize this. The size of India is unique, and its nutritional challenges are unique as well.
At the beginning of this year, you set an ambitious target of doubling your business in India by 2020. But the Indian health and nutrition space is highly crowded with the presence of both MNCs as well as direct selling companies. What would be your approach to achieving this target?
Indeed, that is our ambitious target that we have set for ourselves. I think the answer to your question is through science. Our portfolio is based on scientific knowledge. We have a research center in the Netherlands, which specializes in doing research in early life nutrition, also in some very special conditions that people have that can be solved through nutrition. And that's a unique strength that we have. And we think that will make us extremely strong to compete in this space versus whichever other companies are out there.
How important is the rural consumer to your growth? Do you plan to penetrate rural markets where poor awareness levels and low disposable incomes pose a challenge to the nutrition category?
It is indeed a challenge. As you say, disposable income is lower in the rural India, and also distribution poses another challenge for us. But we are present already in 200 cities, in over 200 cities in India, in metros, but also to some extent in rural. And we are constantly trying to find solutions on how to help the rural population of India with intelligent nutritional solutions for them.
Recently, some top drug manufacturers have also faced the ire of regulatory bodies, the US FDA in particular, for compromising on quality. Being in a sensitive space like infant and maternal nutrition, how is Danone ensuring safety and quality of its products?
As you say, we work with a very sensitive target population, which are infants and mothers mostly. So quality is our utmost priority. We follow here in our factory in Punjab the highest standards of quality that we have in Danone. It's a state-of-the-art facility. We have invested a significant amount of money there in this facility to keep it modern and to keep it to keep the quality standards as high as it's humanly possible. So we have a team, highly trained team that is based there at the factory to assure that the standards that we follow are always high. And we also have a network of labs that we work with, both in India and outside of India, to test our products to make sure that they are up to the mark, make sure that they are complying with the local FSSAI standards and also the international Danone standards that we have. Just to give you an example, we have some very specialized formulas for preterm babies, and out of every batch of preterm formula that we produce, we pick a sample and we send the products outside to be tested in Europe, just to make sure that everything's okay with every batch, because we cannot afford to make a mistake with such a sensitive target population.
Thanks to the internet, companies today are dealing with a more knowledgeable and questioning consumer. How does that change things for marketeers?
So on the HCP space, I think it provides us a very good opportunity to have multi-touch points with the healthcare professionals. So on top of the regular in-person visits that we do with physicians on a regular basis, we can also reach out to them now through the internet. That at the same time creates challenges for us. We need to be much more agile in responding to their queries. It's almost immediate answers that they are expecting from us, and we need to be prepared to deliver that.
Technology adoption is expected to bring about huge benefits in the delivery and outcome of healthcare. What are your views on this in the Indian context?
So the other day I was reading an article where it mentioned that despite of us having a huge number of doctors here in India, given the size of this population, the ratio is not up to the WHO guidelines. I believe that the current situation is one doctor for 1,700 patients, where the guidelines say that we should have more doctors. So digital initiatives can help, especially when it comes to rural India, where geographical access is a challenge. So initiatives like mobile consultation or telemedicine can be a solution for that. And all of the stakeholders involved in these chains need to be conscious of that and need to come together to solve these problems.
Mr. Lima, lastly, what advice would you give to upcoming leaders in the health and nutrition space?
Tough question. I believe continue to innovate, stay relevant to your consumers. Don't be afraid to fail, but fail fast and fail cheap. And for the Danone leaders, a special message: bring health through food to as many people as possible. Think about the food of the future, and let's think about the future of the planet as well.
What a wonderful message and what an insightful discussion. Thank you, Mr. Lima, for interacting with us today. We wish you and Danone the very best.
Thank you.
With this, we conclude today's episode of Mavericks of Medicine, brought to you by Docplexus, India's largest online community of doctors. Happy Docplexing.